streaming the live event. Okay, it looks like I'm started now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do? Let's see. It's a pleasure to see you today on my channel. My name is Dustin Cormier, and you're watching How to Rock Spirit. Today's episode, hopefully I'm not getting too much lag or nothing here. Still working on how to work out this live video stuff. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to check out, I just finished my video on the water Panchatattvas combined with the sign of the ox. So that means if you have the sun in Taurus or Libra or Cancer, or if you have a prominent emphasis of Taurus, Libra, Cancer in your chart, if it's your ascendant lord, it's your Atmakarika, or if Venus or the moon are your highest Shadbala planet, maybe give that video a check, because it will tell you the deeper running torrents that these three signs share as being ruled by Venus, the water Panchatattva. This video in particular is just going to be about Libra. So it's Libra combined with the sign of the ox. Thank you for coming. I always love doing these things. So like I said, check out the previous video on the water Panchatattvas in the year of the ox to find out more about your sign, the Libra, in the year of the ox. You'll also learn more about the ox as well. And for anybody who's watching this live on YouTube, my friend Goosey and my friend Megan are still here. God bless you guys for being a part of it. Feel free at any time to leave a message or to say anything, because I'm trying to build up a community sort of sense whenever I do these things live on YouTube. I know I don't give you guys enough time. I kind of just threw this out yesterday that I was going to do it today, but I'm going to try to start making it a weekly thing. The same time every week, so that you guys know to be here to ask whatever questions you might feel like asking. So without further ado, let's get into this particular sign combination. Libra Sun with year of the ox, or prominent placements of ox in your Chinese chart. We're going to read from 3 books. Each of these 3 books has different ways of talking about this sign combination. We're going to start off first with the Handbook of Chinese Horoscopes by Theodora and Laura Lau. Unfortunately, as you can see, I've used this book a lot, and I've lost the title page for it. This one is a Western translation of the Eastern and Western combination here. So, and this book's usually good. This book does a good job of describing the Western sign, like the Libra, with the ox. It gives it a little bite-sized piece, which we'll expand on with the next 2 books that we're going to listen to in this video. I guess I should say first, before we start, we talked a bit today in the Water Panchatattva video about how Venus is kind of emotionally centered in a way. Venus Sun does best by wheeling and dealing, feeling what people are like, feeling what people want, and accommodating to make those people feel like they can trust the Libra, so that the Libra can reel them in and start getting some business stuff going. Libra is very good at reading people and giving people what they sort of want, or Libra knows how people like to operate, typically. And so the Libra will cater their business model to the customer, so to say, or the client, so that the client knows that Libra ox is looking out for their better interests. The ox is also very solid and logical and sort of unswerving in a lot of ways, so this can be a compensatory coupling, because the ox Libra can be a little bit too much of this sort of trying to lay themselves flat at the feet of the client or of their other business associates. The ox will give them a solid spine and experience and capacity to slowly, diligently analyze all the data. Because where Libra Sun often gets into trouble, the Sun doesn't do that great in Libra. It might even be debilitated there. I think it is, because the Sun is exalted in Aries. The Sun does better when it's in Aries, because Aries is like a go-getter, and it says, it doesn't matter what the other people want. You know, my Sun is what I express myself through, and if the Sun is in Aries, I'm always going to be building towards all the things in my life from my own center, and that's better for the Sun. It's like the Sun is the king of the kingdom, and in Aries, the Sun... the king goes by its own decree, and everything else in the kingdom falls towards that. So Aries Sun is just usually a good thing for the Sun anyway. When you have the king of the kingdom listening a little too intently to the market people. Libra is like the market people, you know? So Libra Sun often gives of themselves a little too much in business. The ox is going to kind of make sure that Libra still has its own solid head. But if the Libra, in its desire to do well and to make big contracts and to connect with people, if they just willy-nilly make business contracts with just anybody just to get the thing going on, the ox will become like, they'll get indigestion. This personality should have its own solid ways of diligently, slowly analyzing in a solid fashion their own way to build up to success. And if they just lean on whatever, on the Libra's fly by the seat of its pants mentality, the ox will get very worried. So they compensate for each other. The ox is solid fortification, helps the Libra to not be too willy-nilly, generally. As I said, feel free to make a comment. Nice. Megan's daughter has her Sun in Libra. Sun in Libra is still beautiful, folks. You have to take all the pieces of the chart into consideration. If you've got the Sun in Libra and you've got a Gemini rising, that means that Libra is that the Sun is in your 5th house, and that's going to bode very well for the nature of the Libra Sun, because the Gemini rising is conducive to what the Libra Sun is doing. So take everything into context and into consideration, especially when we're reading a cookbook style like we're about to read with these readings, because it could say one thing about the person's nature, and if your Sun is severely crippled, or if your Venus, always consider in this reading where your Venus is. If you have a Venus in a bad place, like Aries, or if you have Venus in, like, you know, debilitated in Virgo, you might have a harder time doing the wheeling and dealing, which the Libra Sun wants to express itself through. Now, enough about that. Let's get our first reading on. This is Libra Sun with the year of the ox. The Libra ox will not be stubborn or hot-tempered, for Venus's child Libra always opts for comfort and compromise. The buffalo's rigidness, the buffalo meaning the ox, they're synonymous in Chinese astrology. The ox's rigidness is curbed a good deal here, although this personality will not have that strong Libran need to be dependent, nor its notorious inability to make up its mind. Libra tries to take what everybody kind of needs, and depending on things, you know, the Libra might try to please everybody and ends up pleasing nobody. The ox here is just going to say, okay, here's this data, here's this data, here's this data. We got to keep moving forward. I can't make everybody happy, then fucking eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's keep going. And they'll analyze it, and they'll deeply go by logic, but the point is that the ox kind of takes them away from being too emotionally centered in this regard. Where Libras often think, you know, where's the logic here? And even though this person's way is more logical, I have a deeper emotional connection with this person, and this person will make us all feel better in the long run. You know, Libra takes all these things into consideration, but it's the ox in this Libra, it's the ox in this combination will tell the Libra, stick to your priorities, find out which is the most value to all of us in the long run. And Libras can be a little bit dependent on other people, and the ox here tries to take out as much dependence as possible from other people, because ox just likes to have its own thing going on. The Libra ox is cheerful and undemanding of others. This ox will make friends easily while maintaining high standards for those he chooses to model himself on. Can kind of love everybody, but still has a good sense of character. An ox who loves the good life. He won't plan on working too hard without in-between bouts of leisure. You can trust the Libra ox to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They won't be so stodgy that they can't swing at the party, because this is what ox lives for. I'm a hard ass at work, but when I party, or, you know, Libra ox is one person who says, I work just as hard as I play, and I play just as hard as I work, you know. When they're in there doing the one thing, they're so meticulous. And, you know, I mean, Taurus and Cancer ox are not quite like this. Taurus and Cancer ox just don't have nearly the swing that Libra ox does. Libra ox has this funny sort of way of sitting at the office chair and not leaving the computer, and like everything is still coming through. We're not going to forget to crunch these numbers, but oh man, do I ever like this song, you know? Damn, this is my jam. They have a funny way of tying all that in together. Now our next reading comes from Cosmic Astrology by Mantak, Chia, and William U. Way. This one has, it expands a little bit more on the Libra ox that we just read about in the previous book. So now we have the Libra month combined with the buffalo year, the buffalo being synonymous with the ox. The Libra ox, like all human beings, has faults. The problems here center on the fundamental humanity of this combination and the fact that they have emotions. It is the emotions that rattle this seemingly unflappable person. The Libra buffalo is the paradigm of dialectics, resulting in mind-boggling contradictions and conflicts. One side of this combination is a relentless perfectionist. They appear to be one of the most meticulous people in any circle. They strive for purity of perception and reality both. They will have the lovely house, and the kids, and the pets, and maybe even some horses. The house, however, and all the trappings, is fragile and perhaps made of straw. The wind that blows it down might come from the Libra buffalo themselves. It might be a wind born of emotions that have run amok. While they are gentle and tend to be kind, they sometimes appear to desire a life on the edge of psychosis and emotional turmoil. They want high drama, even though they appear to want a happy family in the suburbs. And yes, the fact is that they are, in one very real sense, the beautiful and gentle person that one sees. They will more than likely attain what they seek. Cool. So they're ultimately that peaceable, they just want the peace that they do express. But some part of the Libra just has to see the shadow side of things. The ox will see it too, and the ox will just deeply not, like, they'll deeply want to make any undertow of emotions, like they want to experiment with it. They want to see it for themselves and just deal with it. So if the Libra ox gets married to their partner, and the two of them have, yes, we've married and we deeply desire the peace and the trimmings and all the things, you know, and we want to be seen as happy with each other, right? So, and the ox is diligent and scientific. It lives by its gut instinct, as we said. The primary energetic symbol for the ox is G, which is yin earth in the 10 elements. G relates with just under the rib cage. It's the spleen and pancreas. And these people will get a knot in their stomach if they've partnered up with somebody and there are some things going on that are not being said. Sometimes they'll even try to fix a front fence even if it's not broken. That's something these people do. You know, like, you know, they'll look at their lover and they'll say, "Are you sure that you're okay with me doing this?" And their lover said, like, for the last time, "Yes." Why are you getting so agitated then? You know? And the person's just like, just fuck it, I do it. We just said we could do it. It's okay. Just don't overanalyze my reactions, Libra ox. Just when I tell you that I'm okay with something, just trust it. Well, why are you getting so mad then? You know, that's like the Libra ox. The Libra ox wants there to be like the peace, which means that they will be drawing out the splinters of lack of peace wherever they can intuit that it's happening. So that's kind of what that whole psychosis and emotional turmoil thing is all about. They're interested in peace, or at least, like, you know, the peace that comes to them is like a 7th house piece. It's like the Western, it's like the sun goes down in the west. So the sun wants to see the result of the emotional turmoil that is being felt. Sometimes you just gotta let go of that emotional turmoil. But the Libra ox they'll feel it in their stomach and they'll say, okay, what is that all about? And they've got to know scientifically what it is that's bothering their partner. And sometimes the partner is just like, can't we just like do it telepathically instead of bringing it all out? You know? They're looking for peace, the Libra ox, but they are aware that often peace overall is a dance between states of tension and non-tension. And if things are too non-tense for a long time, the Libra ox begins to wonder and will come along and start doing checks and say, how's your life doing, baby? Is it all good? You know? is everything okay? I was just wondering, you know, and like, do you want to talk? You know, they'll just be doing these things and the other person will be like, yeah, baby, it's fine. Eventually you get used to it, and it's just a nice thing to know that the Libra ox is making those checks. But at first, the partner will be like, why are you asking? It's fine, man. Relax. And then it's the same thing. What are you being so dismissive about it for then? You know? Now, still reading from Cosmic Astrology. Took a little way down Dustin Cormier's interpretation there. Now, this is Libra ox in romance. For those who dare risk love and romance with this combination, the home will always be there and will be a place of security. Romance, in the case of this combination, is either a can of worms or a kettle of fish. In any case, it is complicated. The Libra ox hides a number of emotional issues and difficulties that need to be dealt with. They're unlike the Aries, which just deals with it in the moment. Excuse me for shaking my table. Libra Ox says, I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with this person's shit later. I can take and carry whatever bull crap they're giving to me without needing to deal with it because I just know that I've got things that are going to ultimately help me out. But those things get stored. Those emotional complexes and others, which they don't resolve in the moment, get stored. These include, but are not limited to, an argumentative nature coupled with a demanding and manipulative personality in the Libra Ox. Now, as for their livelihood, this combination can be counted. Oh, you know what I should say there? If this person has a very strong Mars, it can help this complication a bit, where the Libra Sun becomes a bit demanding and a manipulative personality. That often happens because they've been so passive and they trust the universe that their passiveness and their service to everybody will come back to them. And a lot of times that's why they do so well. Most of the time. Especially if they got a good sun, they got good positive aspects to that Libra Sun, you know, and to their Venus as well. If they got a strong Venus, then that will it will work out. But most people are not perfect picture in any regard. Most people are a bit like strong in one sense and weaker in other senses. So for a person with a weak Sun or a weak Venus, who's always letting the world just wash over them and push them around, the Libra just gets this deep, deep emotional complex where they don't allow the Mars into their life. Letting some Mars, if you'll notice that in the 5 in the pentagram, Mars in the Panchatattvas generates water, and it kind of like feeds water. And there's sort of a mutual two-way play there. So Mars is very good for Venus in this way. If someone is so Venusian, someone is so Libra, that they don't get their tensions out in the moment, then those tensions are going to reside in the Libra, and the Libra is going to find some gross passive-aggressive way of taking it from his boss and giving it to his wife. Because I don't deserve it. And if you're my wife and you promise to be here with me through thick and thin, you're going to have to deal with this shit that I haven't been dealing with. For better or worse. As for livelihood, this combination of Libra Ox can be counted on to do the job well and on time. In general, they get along with others, but because of their extreme fussiness, they can be a chore to have as a boss. Surprisingly, they tend to be very tactful. They know how to say things in the right way to people, but they'll still be fussy. Libra Oxes tend to be successful to varying degrees and usually do quite well. The main reason for their success is that they are excellent workers. They tend to be extremely reliable and responsible. Yeah, that was a good little reading from Cosmic Astrology by Mantak, Chia, and William U. Way. Now we've got one more reading here, ladies and germs. This final reading for this video today comes from The New Astrology it's by Suzanne White. It's got a unique synthesis of the world's two great astrological systems, and the Chinese and the Western. I'm on like hour 4.5 in this video right now, so I mean I'm still good to go, but I could use some food, so that's why I'm kind of like bleh. But that's okay. I always really have fun doing these things. Yeah. I'm going to make a quick check. What I always like to say, everybody, at this point in the video, you can always feel free to join the conversation that are sometimes happening here on How to Rock Spirit. And I will rap with you and talk with you about any concerns, because I like to make these videos more than just myself. Especially with Chinese astrology. Chinese astrology teaches us that the people surrounding us in our environment are just as much us as the soul that is bleeding through the past DNA of our ancestry. The people around us are just as important to our energy field. So feel free to leave a comment and we'll see what we can talk about. My friend Goosey is asking, what are some good astrology books? Well, I'll show you the classic, Goosey. Let's see. One sec. I know it's in here somewhere. Come on. I know I got it here. I got it, I swear. I just gotta find it. Only I could show you guys my stupid bookshelf here. Dang, I can't seem to find it. I got one book in particular that has always served me well. Blah. One sec. Bastard. Dang. I always like to feel proud that I've got the actual physical copy. I don't seem to have it right now. Okay, no big deal. One of my favorite astrology books, Goosey, is it's a book by a lady named Isabel Hickey. This book was recommended to me by, not personally, but by Jimmy Page. I figured you'd have a good, you would enjoy that. Thanks, Goosey. Jimmy Page, Goosey, he wrote, he's written several sort of things. Once, when I first got into astrology, I wanted to get into it because Jimmy Page said that it's part of what made him what he was. And he recommended a book called Cosmic Astrology by Isabel Hickey. Isabel Hickey. And that book started me off on this crazy journey that I've been in. I deeply, deeply recommend it to anybody interested in astrology. Some other fun ones are the Sextrology book. I find that it can tell you a lot about your erotic nature. Let's see, Sextrology. Yeah. This one's a good one, Taoist Astrology by Suzanne White with Chin Tang. This one talks about the Chinese signs. Yeah, you got it, Goosey. That is the Jimmy Page that I'm talking about. The last book that I always recommend, or at least not the last, but one that I always deeply recommend is Karma, Astrology, and Time by Stephen Arroyo. It's a deep description of how the soul relates to all of this, and how he bases it on Jungian psychology, which I think is a great place to start Western astrology from. Now, oh good, thank you, Megan. I'm so glad to hear that. If you're interested, Megan, well, I guess we're not going weekly at this point, but I'm taking these videos sign by sign. So the last group we did was Year of the Rat with the Fire Panchatattvas. This one has been the Ox with the Water Panchatattvas. The next one we're going to do is the Tiger with the Earth Panchatattvas. That's Gemini and Virgo. The next one after that is going to be the Ether Rabbit. So that's Sagittarius and Pisces Rabbit. And then the one after that will be the Air Panchatattva Dragon. This is me mentioning to Megan, because you said that you're a dragon. If you are a Capricorn or an Aquarius dragon, you will get a lot out of that video when we finally get there. And a hello to my friend Creepy Kitten, saying hello to me. It's nice to see all you beautiful people rapping with me and chilling with me while we talk about this fun occult stuff. Excuse me. That was the boar in me. Anyway. Yeah. Now we're going to read from Suzanne White's book about the Libra ox. What I always say about this particular book is that this girl who does this particular book, she takes a little bit of licentious liberty. She writes in a subjective, funny way. And a lot of the times she's just super spot on, but I find it's not as concisely. It's just her own sort of drawing out of these sign combinations. I don't think that they're as concise and on point as the first two readings by Mantak, Chia, and the smaller one by Theodora Lau. Those ones give a more distinct perspective. This writer expands on it in her own intuitive way. So keep that in mind and take this particular reading with a grain of salt, because it might not be as universal to the Libra ox experience as the other two readings. Still good stuff, though. Still good food for thought. So, the Libra Sun's motto is I balance. The ox's motto is I preserve. Persevere. Well, it says preserve, but I think persevere too. I should read what it says. Blah. I preserve. So the ox is trying to preserve some business things, some family things, whatever it is, and the Libra tries to balance on top of that. Beauty and the Beast. This subject is a veritable storm of contradiction. Every detail must be perfect, every line straight, and every flaw concealed. Weakness must be routed out, sloth eradicated. Yet, under the foil of faultlessness, the Libra ox hides a secret. On the strict surface, Libra ox is efficiency and power, example and security. Underneath, an anthill of conflicting emotions. Purity charms this sterling character. He claims not to want any messes about. He protests that he needs calm and cannot live in turmoil. Yet the Libra ox are forever getting themselves involved in emotional scrapes. Even though they seem to be above it all, they take in strays. They seek out madness. They are magnetized by complexity. Fact is, Librans born in ox years are generally basically gentle people. They are addicted to beauty and cannot resist following this penchant. Their dream is perfection in life design. Clean, well-mannered children and pets, lovely surroundings, soft music playing in the background, sumptuous hot cuisine, overflowing Louis XV dining tables, a sensible, fascinating mate who does the Libra ox proud in the world at large, and even well-behaved in-laws. But the Libra ox, they're too intelligent. They know that just as they have achieved this precious house of cards, tied up their own prettily wrapped package, the slightest breeze will certainly come along and destroy it. Disappointment is the enemy of the Libra ox. They are constantly finding others less impeccable than they would like. They are often deceived by those they love, and time again they come back for more. If certain configurations repeatedly disillusion us, we ought to avoid those patterns. But Libra ox, for some reason, refuses. Stubbornly, and apparently with no sense of impending doom, the Libra ox wakes up after monstrous bouts with chagrin and disenchantment, staggers to his feet, and starts all over again. This time it will be different, he says. This time it will be different, hopes the earnest Libra ox. And this time is always exactly the same. Only the sets change. Libra ox people make wonderful raconteurs. When a Libra ox tells you the tales of his repeated woes and how he's been battered and buffeted by life and friends and family, you are riveted in your seat. What? This calm, unassuming, ingenuous, and simple sort has been involved in such weirdness? Such baroque emotions have lived in that homespun person's heart? Frankly, when you see a Libra ox in all of his or her glorious homeliness, you can only wonder where all the complexity fits in. Libra ox, it goes without saying, is a family-dependent person. He or she will not be much of a party-goer or social butterfly necessarily. Libra ox prefers home and all of its relatively manageable embroilments to the scatty and unclean world outside. Sometimes, if you're lucky, this ox, because he's born Libra, will have acquired a certain distance from his own emotions. Then, with the natural eloquence given to him or her at birth, this character can become exceedingly humorous. Eventually after the Libra has made lots of different pacts and emotional levies and understandings with lots of people, eventually they can take it, they can just see people for what they are, understand their emotional complexes, and take it with lightness and laugh and just say, this is how this person is and this is how I am, and my gosh, what a humorous debacle when our two psychological strands came together and made this mess. Ahaha, what have we done? Hope it goes well the next time. It's part of a lovingness that these people can have, It's like, wow, that was really a mess that we just went through there, my best friend. It's like they are aware how much of a mess it can be, and for some reason they still find a way to try to remain loyal. Libra is naturally talkative, but not always artful. Ox, on the contrary, doesn't say much, but what he says is usually articulated with a skillful turn. What results in the Libra ox personality is sometimes known as the gift of gab. These folks know how to use words wisely. They can be very diplomatic and good at dealing with all sorts of people all at once. Now, in love. The province of romance in this person's existence is densely populated, to say the least. If you consider the variety and disparity of emotional influences alive in this subject's spirit, you will begin to comprehend just how overgrown is the sentimental acreage behind his superficially stolid facade. This native is deceptively frolicsome as a love partner. Inside, he or she is a roiling cauldron of emotional hang-ups and demands. Libra ox is quarrelsome and manipulative, and don't you dare forget it. One of the compensations for the difficulties of cohabiting with the Libra ox is that you will always be guaranteed a safe and secure home. Moreover, should you wish to, You are allowed to appear thoroughly insane. The Libra ox will only love you more for your eccentricities, your oddball beliefs, and your own complex miseries. Remember, however, that the Libra ox's stability is only skin deep. Act crazy if you want, but keep your head about you. The Libra ox, in his lust for experience, may be needing a wise second opinion. As for the profession of the Libra ox, Librans born in ox years tend to achieve the outside world. They have a taste for regular hours and can adhere to strict schedules, meet deadlines with ease, and deliver the goods where work is concerned. They are diligent and exceptional for oxen, very cooperative. So what this is saying is ox is not always all that cooperative. They can be, but being ruled by the watery Libra thing, they're very cooperative, which is not usual for the ox. Libra ox people are even diplomatic. They nitpick a lot, and they are endowed with extraordinary strength and won't hesitate to take on the hardest jobs in any work situation. They do nitpick a lot, but they're diplomatic. I'm not sure I'd like to have a Libra ox boss. They are such models of good behavior on the surface that I should always feel diminished by comparison. Libra ox bosses by example. It's the hardest way. This person's also a model employee. He doesn't balk at even the least gratifying tasks. Moreover, he's on his way up and always willing to put in overtime. He'll be stubborn, but essentially he wants to cooperate. You can impress him by your own irreproachable behavior. Some good careers for Libra oxen are writer, preacher, newscaster, educator, antique dealer, and social worker. That's the last of this particular reading in terms of the Libra Sun, Year of the Ox. I want people to keep in mind that, whenever I say the Year of the Ox, it's going to ring true in your personality, but they say that the Year of the Ox might just be in it relates with your grandparents, and then the month branch relates with your parents, and then the day branch relates with you. So keep in mind that if you're in the Year of the Ox, if you've got Libra Sun and you're in the Year of the Ox, the year sign only has so much to do with it's kind of the background of your personality. I would insist that it's not even as deep a reading as the month branch. You can probably read more of yourself. Especially, they say the year sign is most highly active from the ages of 0 to 12. And even from 12 to 24, the year sign, even from 12 to 24, the year sign is still highly active. From 12 to 24, you begin to develop your month branch as your own limb, your own personality, what you're like at school, what you're like and what you might be considering for a job. After 24, you've got a pretty solid expression of your month branch. And from 24 to 26, you start to develop your day branch. Your year sign is going to be the foundation for all these, and it could just be, for some people, the year sign is just not as, for most people, especially past 24, the year sign is just like a dead note, which explained maybe you when you were younger, but now you might see more of your month branch than your year sign. I only put Year of the Ox because that's what people in the Western world, if I put Ox, Libra Sun, they might think what's the ox in relation to? If I say the Year of the Ox, they're going to know I'm talking about Chinese astrology, right? So that is an explanation for that. Cool. My friend Megan can't wait for the dragon video. Oh, nice, Goosey. I would say that Capricorn is compatible with Virgo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Pisces. Not always Cancer, but they can be compatible with Cancer. Relationships are a complex thing in astrology, Goosey, I will say for sure. But you've got the, yeah, wherever you got that seems to be pretty good, pretty good guidance on that source anyway, it seems like to me. So, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Always feel free to leave a message and contribute to our discussion. Today, we have gone through, if you enjoyed this reading, this is very specific to you as Libra Sun in the year of the Ox. If you enjoyed it and you want to know a little bit more about the depth of these particular signs, feel free to check out a video that I just did today as well, talking about the year of the Ox combined, or a prominent placement of Ox combined with a prominent placement of Libra, Taurus, and Cancer. That's the water Panchatattvas. Because it's going to talk about a deep running aspect of the Libra, which you might not usually be used to seeing in traditional readings. We know that Libra is a cardinal sign. We know that it's an air sign. And people just usually run with that when considering what Libra is. But the Panchatattva rulership is a deep part of how people intuit the astrological signs, the Western Tropical Astrology. So, Water Panchatattva, Year of the Ox. Give it a read, give it a listen, and if you enjoyed this video, you will probably get a lot out of that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Spirit. It is always a deep pleasure to share energy, to share space, and to share time with anybody. And I deeply appreciate you taking the time to be interested in whatever I spew out on these videos. For what it's worth, I love to be a goof and stuff, but I do try to express knowledge through these videos. Hopefully this knowledge has been useful to you, and thank you for sharing your time with me. I will say that Chinese astrology is a very new thing in Western occultism. So if you want to make a video, a response video, and say, you know, that Dustin guy said this, and like, I think it's bogus because this is like this, of course I have to encourage it, because I'm only getting all my shit from these books that I've been reading, right? Since this is such a new thing, we need people talking about it, considering how the symbols mesh with each other. And for me, it's a niche on YouTube that hasn't been capitalized on yet. So feel free to join me in making Chinese astrology more accepted in the Western Hemisphere, because that is my main mission as someone who's in the Western Hemisphere. But also, on the other hand, perhaps maybe for anyone who is already deeply into Ba Zi and Chinese astrology, perhaps these videos will be a doorway for them to consider that there's something in tropical astrology which they are missing out on. I like to kind of be a shaker on both sides, folks, because I know that eventually there's going to be some non-dual isness that expresses itself within the dualities. Thank you for watching, folks. It's always a pleasure seeing you, and the next video that we're going to see in this series is going whenever I decide to do it. At the moment, I'm always busy with my life, and I got things going on, and so when you do see it, the next video will be the Year of the Tiger with the Earth Panchatattva, which means a prominent placement of the tiger combined with a prominent placement of Mercury or of Gemini and Virgo in the astrology chart, and particularly the combinations for Virgo Sun with Tiger and Gemini Sun with Tiger. That'll be our next one. Take care, folks. Thank you so much for watching.